Good morning, and welcome to your daily Farm and Home Show, brought to you by the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. And now, here's your host.
Good morning and welcome back to the Farm and Home Show. My name's Kristin Hildebrand, and visiting back with us we have Sam McNeill. He's an extension professor with the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service with the Biosystems and Agricultural Engineering Department. So glad I got that out, and good morning again.
Thank you.
Now, I know you do some work overseas that you want to talk to us about too. That's been really interesting.
I'd be glad to talk to you a little bit about that. It's been kind of interesting work, and it's something I got into initially thinking I would have one trip to Africa. The USDA Foreign Ag Service was recruiting some folks that worked in grain post-harvest loss reduction, and I applied for that like you would a job, just to work as a consultant more or less for the Foreign Ag Service, and they hired 3 scientists, one from Purdue, myself, and an entomologist from Oklahoma State, and the 3 of us went to Nigeria and did a 2-week assessment trip to look at how they stored grain, how they dried grain, how they handled grain after harvest, and tried to help them reduce some of the losses that they were seeing. And in that part of the world, they actually have, it's the weather like we have in July and August here in Kentucky. It's like that year-round for the most part.
Oh, okay.
They do have a wet season and a dry season, so you do have lower humidities in what we would consider our winter time. But in the full harvest season in June, July, they don't have a lot of sunshine. They try to dry most everything with open sun drying, and we've been working with them to try to improve the drying methods that they're using. But to fast forward from '09, we essentially gave a report to the Foreign Ag Service the 6 months after we got back, and they said, well, what do you think is needed over there to help them reduce post-harvest loss? We said, well, we think they could use some training, and so we developed a training curricula that was somewhat similar to what the IPM program here in the U.S. is designed for. It's generally for bulk storage, and in Nigeria they have a lot of government facilities that have, and the standard system is a 1 million bushel facility, so it's quite large. They have 100,000 bushel bins in this facility, and yet they're not fully utilized because, as you can imagine, it takes a lot of naira, billions of naira or local currency to actually stock those facilities. So, but the idea is to use those for food security. You know, and so in times that we have a big harvest, you can store that away and then work through the lean times. And that's the idea why they have that structure in place. Anyway, so we've worked there in Nigeria, we've worked in Ghana, and in Ghana it's a little different system. They work mostly with bags, grain bags. It's the standard unit coming off the farm is a 40 bushel bag. Okay. And they'll take it to market, and they'll run their hand into the bag. The merchant will take his hand into the bag, and if it's loose enough, he will consider it dry enough for storage. So we've developed from that a moisture meter. I work with an engineer at the USDA Grain Lab in Manhattan, Kansas, and he's developed a moisture meter that you see here, and this is the second version of the meter. It's just a digital meter, and it has a temperature and humidity sensor on the probe, and into the probe, and you can insert this into the sack, and it's going to measure the temperature and humidity of the airspace there, but then it's going to calculate the equilibrium properties of the grain. And you can switch through, and it's got 8 different grains programmed in the meter. So
it's a lot more accurate
than just sticking your hand or biting the kernels like they typically do.
Yeah, and like you said, they probably just don't have some of the equipment.
They have not, but I think it's something that's low cost enough to where a grain merchant could purchase this and then help farmers know if grain's properly dried for storage.
Yeah. Now, did you say some of this has Bluetooth capability?
It does. This is actually, the previous model had a cord with a readout device. This one has Bluetooth capability. You can read it with a cell phone, and then you can reprogram it for different grains. Right now, it's just programmed for 8 different grains.
8 different grains, yeah. Now, how much does this typically cost if somebody that was interested or watching the show today could purchase?
They are actually making this in Ghana for $100.
$100.
It's called the GrainMate. You can Google GrainMate, and you can learn all about the instrument itself and in somewhat the story of how it was developed there.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like you said, this is the 2nd edition, so it's been improved even from that first time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So is there anything else with this GrainMate that you want to mention?
Well, I want to give a shout out to the lab, the Grain Lab. at USDA that help fund the project and then the Feed the Future project as well.
Well, Sam, thank you again for being here, and thank you for all the information you've provided. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.
If you have questions about today's topic, please call the Warren County Extension Office at the number on your screen. Thanks for watching and have a great day.